Hey guys, it's Gregory Iron. Before we get started on this week's episode, first and foremost, I want to point out because I don't feel like going back and editing it, and I had a little piece of information wrong about Knox Pro Wrestling. I mentioned several times that Rikishi was the owner, which he is, but I also mentioned Gangrel. I must have misheard something else or thinking about something else. Gangrel has nothing to do with Knox Pro Wrestling. I want to make that abundantly clear. Gangrel, nothing to do with all of the weirdness that is occurring with Knox Pro Wrestling. I didn't know the name of the associate that was featured in the video with Rikishi. The name escapes me right now. The other Samoan gentleman that runs a school with Rikishi. Actually, let me look on the website here real quick. Maybe it mentions Black Pearl. That's his name. Black Pearl and Rikishi are the people that have founded the Knox Pro Wrestling Academy. That's important to point out. But also, as I'm recording this in the aftermath of more stuff coming out on Tuesday afternoon, I'm going to be recording a little bit of extra stuff that you'll hear at the end of the episode just because this shit's got me half hot and pissed off. So stick around to the end because I got more to say, and hope you enjoy this week's episode.
Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. This is episode 307. Getting close to 311, which was a popular band in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Pardon the interruption.
What's
Aaron Bauer's in the building.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you like 311?
No.
Had-
one song, maybe.
They had that one song where it goes, da, 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 that you wouldn't believe. She's got something.
That's not the one I'm thinking of.
What was the song that you were thinking?
I ain't got no sangria.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't got no crystal ball.
Something.
It's punk ass. What I really want to say.
Uh-huh.
That's not even the same band.
1 minute in, we've lost so many listeners. Good to see you.
Maybe Amber?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Amber is the color of your energy. Or something.
Yeah, okay, that's a 311.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
But it's 307. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 307, that's one of my favorite bands as well.
Sure.
They're the 311 cover band.
Just wait until I make the same 311 reference in about 5 weeks.
This is a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, just getting prepared. But you know, sometimes in life, people need dress rehearsals for certain things that they may or may not do. Like, for example, you might want to talk to, your wrestlers backstage to tell them, like, maybe you don't have to be on all the time. If a camera's on you, you don't have to work the gimmick, brother. And maybe you should tell someone who has a large streaming platform that, maybe the spot that he has to do in the match. And maybe when you say he can give someone a receipt, maybe you don't say that to someone, especially one with an MMA background who's being hyped up by a bunch of kick followers on the internet. I guess what I'm trying to say is today we're going to talk about the Raja Jackson Psycho Stu situation. I can't believe we're going to talk about a guy named Psycho Stu, but we are. That's his name. And really serious situation we're going to delve into with this, and we're going to give our thoughts, detailed what occurred. And we're also going to talk about some other stuff. We're going to answer some of your questions from social media and from Patreon, patreon.com/IronWrestling. is where you can support the show best. There is a free tier. We've already recorded a free episode for this week that's over there, about 25 minutes long, where we answer more of your questions. So if you don't hear your question on this show, it's probably over on the free episode. It's free to sign up. But if you want to support us with money, $3 gets you in the door. All the audio podcasts going back to 2019. $5 gets you involved in bonus video when we post that. $9 is where we do our live chats. You get to pick bonus podcast subjects. Live chat's going to happen this weekend, likely Saturday. Don't have a time yet. But we're going to get into a conversation for at least an hour. Probably be about stuff that we don't even talk about on the podcast. So, also keep in mind, you can get stuff in the mail from us. We're going to be sending some stuff out for September. Patreon.com/Iron Wrestling, place to be. Subscribe to the YouTube. YouTube's growing. We've been posting a lot of stuff over there. We're going to talk about some stuff from the YouTube that we posted in the last week on today's episode as well. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you download it, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download your favorite podcasts. And, leave a review. Creates visibility. Leave some comments on some of the videos that you like on YouTube. Some very unique stuff that we've been posting on there. Delve into a couple of things that we posted this week real quick. Aaron, have you been watching the YouTube and what's going up on there?
Yes. I saw a lot of YouTube, a lot of food reviews.
Well, not food reviews as much as we did post a video.
Oh, us on Iron on Wrestling channel. Oh, yeah. I watched a little bit of that, too.
Yeah. Well, we did post a 15-minute video of Hulk Hogan on QVC trying to sell the Hulk Hogan grill. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember why it didn't work out for him?
Because there was something called the George Foreman grill.
Well, no, that's not why we're. The bigger problem was, I don't know if you remember, the Hulk Hogan grill got recalled because it was catching fire. So that's kind of the problem, which is unfortunate because it was a lot bigger than the George Foreman grill. You could make gigantic waffles. Go ahead and watch the 15-minute video on our YouTube because it's a lot of Hulk Hogan just eating cheeseburgers and waffles and cheeseburger. There's also some other Hogan videos that we posted over there, including him trying to sell some sort of house cleaner. He busts through the wall like a Kool-Aid man in the video. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. He's worried about scraping this these marks off the wall, but seems to have no concern about the hole that he just put in the wall of this little girl's house. So it's very interesting. Well, one video on particular that I feel is of interest to some of you that you may or may not know existed. I feel like I knew in the back of my mind that this was a thing. I posted a video entitled Jimmy Hart is a Pervert. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, which you are, you're listening to the show, you're probably thinking to yourself, Jimmy Hart, a pervert? How's that possible? Well, they made him act like a perverted commissioner when he was in the NWWL back in 2006. Do you know what the NWWL was, Aaron?
The National World Wrestling League.
No. The NWWL was actually it was titled Carmen Electra's NWWL. That stands for Naked Women's Wrestling League. It was an erotic women's professional wrestling promotion which featured naked females battling, in quotes, this is on Wikipedia, in the ring. Carmen Electra acted as hostess for the organization until 2007. The NWWL broadcast shows were around the world, and its wrestlers were featured in magazines such as Penthouse, Playboy, and Maxim. So they ran exactly 2 shows. They made their debut in 2004 with the release of a pay-per-view show entitled Vegas Stripped. Very creative. Ooh. And then they returned to pay-per-view, and this is where the clips are from that you'll see on our YouTube. This was in 2006, and it was called Naked Revolution. Carmen Electra hosted the show while other celebrities appeared on the program, including Jimmy Hart, as well as adult entertainment star Mary Carey, which, though I will have to censor it, she cuts a live promo in the ring. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen in professional wrestling history. But there's some nudity in it, so we can't put that on YouTube unless I censor it.
Well, let me watch it on your phone.
Why are you being such a pervert?
I mean, because Jimmy Hart's a hunk of a man.
The YouTube nudity thing is actually quite interesting, though, because do you remember when we worked at the Center for Adults with Developmental Disabilities?
Yeah.
And there was one kid named Mark who, he couldn't read or write.
Speak proper sentences.
I kind of talk like this, and but he couldn't read or write. All right, I want to make that perfectly clear. And half the battle on YouTube to be able to find a video that you like is to be able to read or write or even know what you're looking up. Somehow, on YouTube, on a regular basis, he would find naked massage videos, and he would just be like, I mean, his face basically up against the screen. You know, when you're a kid, you're like sitting from the TV, and the kid's like, hey, your parents like, hey, get away from the TV. You're sitting too close. You're gonna mess up your eyes. This guy's eyes were already messed up to begin with. He had like Coke bottle glasses, but I mean, you had to peel him away from the television screen, and then you would like exit out of it. You would exit out of YouTube completely. There's like no possible way he could randomly find this again. You walk away 5 minutes later, motherfucker has massage videos up again, naked on YouTube. How is he finding this? I don't even know.
I never knew the answer to that either, but he found it all the time. I had another client like that too. I had to look and see what he had on his tablet, and there was 2 women who were in bed in like this California king size bed, and they were in bra and panties, and they were sitting there, and they were talking to him, and he doesn't. So he had to start typing things out, but he typed out, "What do you need?" And they were like, "Yes, we need your credit card information."
Oh, God.
So he types out his full name. My name is so-and-so. I live at 4571 North Michigan Avenue, Elyria, Ohio. And I'm like, no, don't send that. Don't send that. And they're like, if you would like to continue talking with us, we just need that credit card information. How did he find that?
I don't know, man. Real quick before we go back to the NWWL thing, it also reminds me of like, which I never known of this being a thing until I got to this Center for Adults with Developmental Disabilities. I remember when I first started working there, there was a one of the. Do you remember what was her name? Donna, the older woman that had a thing for me. Yeah. I would color. She would get real horny when I was in the area, but I would like sit with her and color pictures. And one day, one of the staff members, as I was coloring pictures, they're like, no, put that all away right now. And like I'm like getting markers and crayons yanked out of my hand, and everything's being hit. I'm like, why? And there's this guy coming in the area, like who wears headphones on his head, and like, you know, he has a disability, and they're just like, if he sees someone coloring on a piece of paper, he will pull out his dick and start jacking off. And I remember being like, what? And like one day, the crayons and the markers and the paper was left unattended with someone, you know, making colorful pictures, drawing pictures. And we look over in the corner, and there he is right by the girl whacking it. And we got to convince him to put it away. It's an interesting time.
My first day there, I was in that dude's area, and the people that had already worked there are like, we're going to lunch now. So
that's why. So as soon as they walked away and they said, all right, you want some crayons? And you went off in the corner with them, right? Is that what happened?
Kind of.
Okay.
They said, so, you know, nobody should really be in the area. So you probably got like a half hour. And I was like, okay. So I was just hanging out in this area because their people went to lunch and the staff went to lunch too. Well, then that guy comes back with his headphones on. And I'm like, I walk up, I go, hey, buddy, it's my first day here. I really don't know anything what to do right now. What, you just wanted to have a seat? Okay, go ahead, have a seat. And he's reaching over and he grabs the color book and he grabs the crayons. And so like 2 minutes or so go by and the staff start coming back in. And I hear him go, no, fuchsia. He got fuchsia.
That's it. That's what does it for him.
His fucking hog was in his hand underneath the table and the crayon in the other hand.
Well, how do you transition back in November of 2007? After this 2006 Naked Revolution event, Carmen Electra announced a lawsuit against the NWWL for, among other things, breach of contract and failure to pay money that she claimed was still due to her. In response, NWWL owner Howard Mann revealed that he would seek damages for defamation, slander, and malicious persecution. In late 2007, the NWWL launched a website where their nude wrestling matches were available for download. Since the promotion debuted, the NWWL shows have been broadcast in approximately 38 countries. What a great accomplishment. One of the figureheads, one of the featured women in the promotion was April Hunter, which, did you ever do any shows with April Hunter? Like, she always felt like she was like big on the indies when I would read magazines, but like I always...
Probably if I did shows with her, it was on JT shows.
Okay. That sounds about right. There are not a lot of names on this roster that you would know from indie wrestling. Melissa Coates did some shows, which of course was Jeannie, Sabu's woman, who passed away since. But the one name that I know that sticks out here is Annie Social. And I did work with Annie once. A very nice girl. However, it's wild to think that, you know, only 20 years ago, they would do shit like this, like naked women's, because I can't imagine like being a guy and be like, hey, without it being weird, because I get enough weird messages on social media, but like, hey, we're starting this new league. It's a naked men's wrestling league. Would you like to be a part of it? I'm like, no, I wouldn't. So and I was just like thinking about like how kind of weird and gross that might be, because you're like wrestling and sweating, and it's just, anyways. The one time
had sex before?
I've had sex, yes.
Okay, well that's kind of, you're wrestling and sweating.
Yeah, but imagine you're doing it with like the same sex, and perhaps maybe you're not attracted to the same sex.
Well, some people are into that.
Imagine you're a guy wrestling another naked guy.
No way, I'd punch him in the butt and run.
You would. Anyways, when I wrestled Annie in AIW, and this might have been 2012, 2013, I remember specifically, she like sternly told me that I was not allowed to do anything sexual, and she said, and do not grope my breasts. And I remember being like, okay, but I'm thinking to myself like, geez, like this is pretty bad that you have to like put these boundaries up.
Right.
That means just like fucking guys are just doing this. Like I would never even think to be like, I'm just going to grab your boobs in this match. Like the match went fine, but I just remember that conversation being like, yikes. And then like not remembering that she was a part of the naked women's wrestling league, where you're just kind of being, I mean, again, they all made this choice. I guess, do you say sexually exploited? But like, it was just a different time in wrestling. That doesn't make it a good thing or that it was right, but it's just fucking weird. They did release some of these on DVDs, by the way, before we move on. The name of the first DVD was called Carmen Electra's NWWL Volume 1, subtitle, Bush versus Hussein, because they have a character named Harriet Bush, and she wrestled Layla Hussein. Imagining they're playing off of the war of the time. I would imagine if that's from the 2004 DVD, that would make sense, right?
Yep.
Fun times. There's some other stuff on the YouTube channel that we uploaded, included, which it hasn't got as much play as I would have thought. I found a Ric Flair personality profile from a TV show in 1986 called Sports Lifestyles. And I believe she made some appearances on WCW TV, but I do believe this is the first on-camera appearance of Charlotte Flair. You get to see a rare look in 1986 of Ric Flair in his home. Like, imagine like a bootleg version of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. You see Ric Flair driving his car, you see the inside of his house, and you see him holding and playing with a baby Charlotte Flair. So I think that's a pretty interesting video. The YouTube is growing. We're at 8,510 subscribers, and we're hoping to get to 10,000 by the end of September. I think that's a reasonable goal. We uploaded some more local news footage that we found, including Jeff Hardy mentioning that he writes poetry, but having a sexuality question on the news about it. Terry Funk.
What was the example you gave to me? I thought you read off the air.
I thought you gave me an example.
Yeah, I think it was you.
Yeah, what was the example? Would you like to say
I
it?
can't remember. I was hoping you would repeat what you said.
I mean, I guess I could read a comment from one of the people on YouTube left. Actually, I can't even find the comment. Anyways, well, be that as it may. There's also an interesting one that I found. It's only a minute long. Pro wrestler Terry Funk and boxer Howard Smith spar, 1976. And so I can't gauge if there was potential for them to have an actual boxing match or what. It's front of a little crowd, and Terry Funk is talking about protecting the business and how he has to be able to defend himself against a boxer and how he could never let a boxer defeat him, and the boxer is talking vice versa. There's no evidence of this occurring when you Google it, but we found 1 minute of footage from 1976 online about it. So we also uploaded WWF Friday Night video segments from 1987, October of 1987. It's the night before Honky Tonk Man and Macho Man. Did you ever watch Friday Night videos? Do you remember this at all?
Yep.
So basically, can you explain what it was for people that might not know what it is? Because I didn't even know it was a thing until I started looking into this.
Oh, they're videos.
Yeah.
Music videos, and they're played at, for whatever, a block, an hour or 2 hours on a weekend. Was that a Friday night?
Yes.
Okay. And in between the videos, like sometimes when they come back from commercial, they feature something with WWE, WWF.
Yeah. And so this is pretty historic because these promos, they haven't been featured on YouTube. I had to do some digging for it. And basically it's 8.5 minutes of Macho Man and Honky Tonk Man hyping their Intercontinental Championship match, which, of course, in that match, that would be the beginning of the iconic Mega Power storyline. And I'm a little biased, but if you go and watch these Macho Man promos hyping this match, these might be the funniest Macho Man promos I've ever seen. I mean, everything he says to Mean Gene in these segments with Miss Elizabeth seems like the fact that it hasn't been on the internet and people haven't talked about these promos is ridiculous. But check out the YouTube, Iron on Wrestling. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the crazy incident that occurred over the weekend between the son of Rampage Jackson, Roger Jackson, and Psycho Stu.
I was thinking about having a good friend of mine. His name is Juan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know him or not.
I know him.
He's from around the way.
He's been doing artwork for a while.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of going back to Cali.
When were you in Cali last?
I don't think so.
Huh?
Anyway.
Do you know Cali?
No, who's Cali?
I don't know.
Well, she's going to be on a cloud with me.
Okay,
This
wow.
design.
Good Lord.
Cali, you made your way into cloud design.
Now,
here.
this is from Of the Dead Designs. Correct?
Yeah. The only design place I go to.
Okay. What's in this design that you might get framed on your wall or perhaps put on
Well,
a T-shirt or a sticker or a flag or something?
I don't want to give too much away, but there's two clouds.
Okay.
And me and I guess me and Callie. But I don't know, because we broke up, right?
Okay.
Right, so she's in this truck, and she runs me over. And then she gives another dude a blowjob on a cloud across the
Wow,
street from
where did
me.
you come up with this scenario? It's almost like a story that we talked about exclusively for Patreon. That's crazy. Well, Juan, I know you're listening. Not only is he a sponsor, but he's a great fan of the show. And listen, I know that you know, Juan, that you've been in this business for 2 decades. Have you ever drawn something like that? Well, now's the time. And I'm sure that our listeners can come up with more ridiculous designs than that, and perhaps maybe even a logo. Maybe there's a logo that this guy wants while he's under the truck for his company, where he watches girls receive fellatio from their significant other while laying under the tire of a truck. I don't know if that's possible, but Juan can make anything you want. And you know what? Not only has he done designs for people in WWE, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, a plethora of other promotions. He's had his stuff on action figures and in video games. Juan Ortiz can make something for you at an affordable price. And actually, he's going to knock off $20 on your first design if you message him and mention Iron on Wrestling. So do yourself a favor. Reach out to Juan and Of the Dead Designs. Go to the Instagram. Give him a follow at Of the Dead Designs, Facebook.com/Of the Dead Designs, or go to the website ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing artwork to life.
You know what else brought me to life recently? I felt like I was not as alive and vibrant as I once was. And then I spoke to, he's a friend of yours and mine. It's Mike from TNT Health.
Ah, yes, TNT-health.com.
That's right. He said, hey, are you feeling this way? Well, we can help you feel this other way. And so now I'm feeling the other way. I'm back to my normal happy-go-lucky self. What about you, Greg?
I feel great. I was just talking about
How's that glutamine treating you?
great. I was telling Ben Boone all about it, actually. I was spending some time with him today, and, he was talking about, hey, can we take a stop up to GNC? Hey, can we take a stop up to Vitamin Shop? I need something right now. And I said, that's fine for now, but, remember that guy Mike we used to train with in PWO? He said, yes. And I said, well, you listen to the podcast every week, dipshit. You should know it's the same Mike from TNT-health.com. And he's like, well, what? And then I was like, yeah, I get protein from him all the time, which I can mix with anything, like 25 grams in each scoop. It's like 120 some calories. And I add in like a good banana and maybe some oat milk, and it's great. Perfect before bed. Creatine for pre-workout, glutamine for post-workout. And listen, TNT-health.com has everything in between for you. The pre-workout, the post-workout, everything you need, including, but not limited to, additional help from Mike. He's going to help you meet your goals. You tell him what you want him to do, and he's going to help you do it. He's going to help you track your macros. He's going to help you keep track of your nutrition, the amount of protein you're taking in, fat, carbs, all that good stuff. People are going to do that at Vitamin Shop and GNC. So, free to look over at TNT-health.com. But if you buy anything, you're going to save 10% on anything you buy if you use our promo code IRONON. IRONON, Iron-On, IRONON. Do it now. You won't regret it. TNT-health.com. Because at TNT Health, it's about your health today, not tomorrow. And we are back here on Iron on Wrestling, and let's get into it. Pro wrestler is brutally beaten by Rampage Jackson's son. That would be Raja Jackson, who beat up a wrestler by the name of Psycho Stu. So, where do we begin? When did you see and hear about this, Aaron?
I started seeing about it like right when it happened. People started posting things. And once I got to about the fourth posting of it, then I decided to look into it. Because the first time, sometimes it's just, BS or whatever.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing it posted again and again and again. And I thought, okay, there might be something here.
Yeah, it was disturbing, to say the least. I started seeing the videos come in, this weekend when it was all going down. And, man, so I guess we start from the beginning. Essentially, what was happening. Now, this was at Knox Pro Wrestling, which is run by Rikishi and Gangrel. Which, until a few minutes ago when we started recording, they were a WWE ID affiliate. They are not anymore. I felt that was coming based on what happened. But let me read you a little bit of this report from the LA Times, and we'll stop periodically. I'll add things that need to be added that might not have been hitting this report, whatever the case. This was posted a few hours ago. Live stream wrestling event in Los Angeles over the weekend. It sparked a police investigation after Raja Jackson, the son of former UFC light heavyweight champion Rampage Jackson, was seen unleashing a series of punches to the face of a wrestler during what was supposed to be a stage event. The video, which went viral, shows the youngster Jackson jumping into the ring Saturday night in the middle of a wrestling match involving Stuart Smith, also known as Psycho Stu. Jackson picks up Smith and slams him down with the back of Smith's head slamming into the mat. Jackson then immediately began to deliver 23 punches to his face as the crowd looked on. Within seconds, two other wrestlers climb in the ring and pull Jackson off Smith, but he manages to push one off as he tries to get back to Smith. The crowd can be heard screaming as the two men grapple in the ring. 4 costumed wrestlers eventually hold Jackson to one of the corners of the ring. It should be noted that one of the bigger guys that actually stopped him was at one point biting him to try to calm this guy down. Video of the incident, which was held at Knox Pro Wrestling Academy in Sun Valley, was originally live streamed on Kick, but quickly spread on social media and YouTube. The video showed Jackson being escorted out of the gym after the incident. Viewers online questioned whether the incident was criminal or part of the show that had gone too far. A spokesperson for the Los Angeles Police Department confirmed that officers were called to the gym at 9 p.m. Saturday after receiving a report of an attempted murder. This is not going to be well for Mr. Jackson. The suspect had left the location by the time officers arrived, and the victim was taken to a hospital in stable condition. A police spokesperson said Monday. I'm getting like heated just reading this right now because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings. Officers completed a felony battery report and detectives have been assigned to the case, officials said. No arrests have been made as of Monday morning. Talks about what Jackson talked about, Rampage Jackson, in a statement. blah, blah, blah. I have some stuff that I have noted down that I want to discuss as far as this goes. But so what it comes down to is apparently Raja Jackson is a big-time streamer on Kick. Okay, I don't even know what Kick is. Do you know what Kick is? I'm going to guess if I don't, you don't. But he streams on there, so he's live streaming everything. And he was invited to the show. He has no interest in wrestling. He doesn't know anything about wrestling. He was invited to a show by a friend of his named AJ Mana, who's a pro wrestler. That's the only reason why he was going. He even says at one point in the live stream, which goes on for a few hours, actually. And by the way, as we record, crazily enough, this whole thing is still on the internet. This motherfucker has had no one to tell him, maybe you should take this entire video down. It's crazy that it's still online from his account on Kick. Well, actually, they might have taken the Kick down at this point, but the video still exists. It still existed until the Kick got taken down. He shows up to the show, and he's filming shit. He says he's only here on an invite. And so as he's filming himself interacting with some of the wrestlers that he knows, at one point, this Psycho Stu stands up because he sees the cameras and he's trying to get his moment in the spotlight, okay? You didn't see any of this part.
No.
Okay. So this is how it begins. I'm going to show it to you after I explain it to you, just so you can get an idea of what we're looking at and get your candid thoughts on it. So Psycho Stu sees what's happening. He sees the cameras, and so he's trying to get in on the action. And he has an interaction with this guy. And Raja says, I don't know who you are. And he says something to the effect of, well, you know who I am? Let me show you who I am. And Stu, who had been drinking, has a beer can. And he smashes it into the side of the head of Raja Jackson. So let me show you that real quick so you have an idea of what we're talking about. All right. Your immediate thoughts seeing this interaction. Psycho Stu sees the camera, he stands up.
Yeah.
He starts talking shit to this kid, and then he hits him in the side of the head with a can.
Yeah, that's uncalled for.
I would agree. I don't remember. We probably talked a little bit about it on the regular show before. We definitely talked in the bonus, though. Not too long ago. We talked about policing the locker room, okay?
Yeah.
And we talked about, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it because I don't drink or smoke, but perhaps maybe we shouldn't let guys drink before their matches, okay? Because this is before the show. So now this guy who's consuming alcohol, I don't care how much it is, clearly enough for him to think that it was a good idea. Or maybe in that moment, he was just so dumb to wrestling and how it works that he thought just because the camera's on means people are working. Whatever the case is, Psycho Stu had no right to get up and hit this kid with a can, okay? Now, to add to that, which doesn't play a factor, I believe, in what happens later, unbeknownst to Psycho Stu, apparently Raja had just suffered a concussion a few days earlier. Concussion bad enough to where he was puking, having a lot of headaches and stuff, which is one of Rampage Jackson's big statements when he's talking about how he's worried about Psycho Stu and everything in his Twitter posts and everything, but he keeps going back to, but he had a concussion, Yeah. That doesn't really help the matter. But bottom line is, I don't know how long Psycho Stu's been working, but under no circumstances, without being told, like we just did an episode last week about how guys had to keep kayfabe in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like, why are you fucking getting up and hitting anybody with anything, trying to like, live your gimmick in the locker room?
Right.
And also, again, alcohol should not be permitted in the locker room. You should not be allowed to drink until after your match is over. And even then, I think it might be a little questionable. Again, I don't want to be a fucking, like a buzzkill or whatever, but in some ways, some of us make some money and, you know, it's not your job to get drunk. Okay. It's your job to wrestle and protect the person you're in the ring with. So, definitely Psycho Stu made a mistake there. I feel so dumb calling him Psycho Stu. So after this happens, someone there who seems familiar, no one has named him as like a famous Samoan, but the guy that was standing up after the fact and goes, hey bro, he's not a fucking worker, dude. He looks like a familiar Samoan. I can't place who he is exactly. But he basically has to explain to Stu, this guy's not a wrestler.
Yeah.
We're not doing an angle or anything.
Right.
Like, calm the fuck down. So what proceeds to happen is once Stu comes to that realization, he offers a handshake. Raja won't take it. declines it a second time. Then the Samoan guy says, you know what? Maybe we can do something to this. Maybe we can work it into an angle. Okay? We'll do something in the match, make this all make sense, right? And you can get something in on him or something. He says something to that effect. To where then, all of a sudden, Raja goes, okay, and he shakes Stu's hand. Here's my problem here, too. I'm imagining they want to work something with him, and they're okay with him filming this because he has a big presence on streaming. That's what I get the impression of.
Yeah.
Especially because he's Rampage Jackson's kid. If we're worried about protecting the business in one instance, in this case, where Stu has to stand up and hit him with a beer can, why in the next are we talking about on a live stream for a show that's about to happen? Yeah. Brother, we'll turn it into an angle. You just go do something in the match tonight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Nox Pro streams or anything like that. I'm not sure. I'm not smart to that. But I don't know. Fucking, we're talking out both sides of our mouth here. But whatever the case is, I think it seemed to me as though Psycho Stu legitimately apologized, and then seemingly Raja Jackson accepted said apology, but only after he was told he could do what he had to do or he could get something back in the match, right? Set up an angle. In the next instance, we're backstage with this AJ guy who invited him, and I'm going to show you what AJ said to him, and then I'll talk about it on air, of course, for those who are not following along. All right, so just showed Aaron the clip of the interaction with AJ Mana, who said, you fucking give him his receipt, give him his fucking receipt, tag his shit. If they got a fucking problem with it, I'll run out there, tag his shit, bro. He even said to him, you remember what a receipt is, right? So they must have talked at some point about what a receipt is in wrestling. However, do you know what a receipt is? Because commonly in wrestling, what a receipt is, if someone stiffs you a little bit hard, you stiff them back. Usually, what a receipt is not is beating someone half to death, or I would say more than half to death, as this man is in critical condition in intensive care. I would say that's probably 9/10 to death. Yeah. I don't know. Give me your thoughts. So also, I want to point out, too, that I also showed you right beforehand, which we didn't really talk about, is the guys openly talk about, including that AJ guy, that Psycho Stu always seems to think that everybody's working no matter what, especially when the camera's around. So give me all your thoughts on what you just watched.
I didn't like anything that I saw. It just reminded me of why I'm glad I'm not in the indie wrestling business anymore.
I mean, you kind of are.
Yeah.
When they ask you to come back, you sort of do it.
Well, I didn't like anything that I saw. I didn't like the interaction. I didn't like the drinking backstage. I didn't like the guy hitting the other guy in the head, unprovoked. And like, who just does that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't imagine, like, let's just give like the most absurd example. Like, an old man comes backstage with a camera crew and he's like meeting people, and my character is that, I don't know, I'm a psycho. So I go, hey, do you know who I am? The old man goes, oh, Sonny, I don't know who you are. Like, well, let me show you. And I fucking hit him in the side of the head with something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand like why you would think that's a good idea. Also, this AJ Magic guy is a fucking moron, because, like, again, that is what happens in the end here is not a fucking receipt.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just plain and simple. So essentially what happens is, after this goes down, because it's on a live stream, which, by the way, I don't know how it works, but also Rampage Jackson can be filmed. There's a point which a lot of people, not enough people are talking about. Rampage ends up seeing the stream. He's being filmed. He calls his son and says something to the effect of like, oh, I see you getting your ass beat by a bunch of guys in spandex, and making some sort of like homophobic type analogies about wrestling, about oil boys or something, and like saying some weird shit about wrestlers, riling his son up. And like, do I need to send some of my goons out here for you? And he's like, no, I can take care of myself, and blah, blah, blah. And on top of that, so not only is his dad calling him to kind of say, hey, why are you getting treated like this by some pretend fighters? Mind you, this guy's still live streaming. And he's reading these comments from a bunch of people that are like, you should have knocked his ass out. Right. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You're a fucking bitch. You're fucking this. You're fucking that. And it's goading him into doing something, which I think he's already convinced himself that I think he knows what he's going to do. And so
that's why he accepted
the
apology then. You know, as soon as he found out he could. do something.
And so he's watching the stream. He's talking shit where he's like, he's basically saying it's all documented. Like whatever happens, it's not going to be good because all this shit is documented in like a 2-ish, 3-hour stream, whatever the case is. That when he does the spot, he's going to fuck this dude up. I think there's a lack of communication though, because he's talking about where he doesn't even know what the spot is while he's sitting there watching the show. And then at one point he has to go, oh, I got to go back and see when I'm actually supposed to run into this match. He goes back there. They film him again, going to the back, like, hey, when do I come out? And they're like, oh, like this part right here, like you'll run in. I'll sit behind you, the guy tells him, and I'll tap you when you can go into the ring. Now, for an impromptu angle that is supposed to be payback for something that didn't happen in front of this live crowd.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. It just seems
fucking dumb. Where is Rikishi? Where is Gangrel? Like I don't know Rikishi. I've done like 1 or 2 shows with him. I know Gangrel. I know he wouldn't let something like this happen. He's a very fucking smart man. So it's like, who is running the back? Who is communicating? Who is like allowing this dude who is not trained in wrestling to do spots on the shows? But also, when you're getting ready to do what I think they attempted to create as a work shoot, this kid should not have been sitting in the crowd that whole time. He should have been in the back in whatever the match Stu was having to see like, okay, and then right here, Raja, this is when you're going to run in the ring and you're going to do this. Let's know what you're going to do. I don't think anybody knows that. Like there's this, a lot of people are saying like, well, there was miscommunication. There was no communication from what I can see. And so then at one point, the dude's sitting behind him. And this, again, kid's hyping himself up. He's going to beat this fucking dude's ass. Gets the tap on the back, goes in the ring, picks this fucking dude up, slams him right on his head. He's instantly knocked out. He's motionless. And then he proceeds to rapid fire punch him 23 times in the face. Now, you obviously watched that part, right? You say you didn't watch the whole thing?
Yeah, no, I watched it all.
Okay.
I just didn't watch the video you sent me. Okay. Whatever link you sent me.
Okay. So the 23 punches go down, and eventually one of the guys half-heartedly tries to pull him off. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he doesn't really understand what's happening.
I think that's what it is.
And then eventually, like, the bigger dude gets over and, like, pulls fucking Raja off and, like, is kind of hugging him. And, I mean, it's a terrifying visual because Stu is laying there with blood coming out of his ears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's coming out of his nose, the side of his face, his mouth. I don't know what you saw from the reports, but I mean, they literally said that the dude almost died because he was choking on his own blood and teeth. And, listen, I think Stu threw the first blow in a situation where he probably shouldn't be drinking, and he should probably fucking know better than to hit anybody that he's unsure if they're a worker or not. Like, that's not how that works. But
that's how your old promotion gets sued and goes down the drain.
Yes, but also no justification for what this fucking Raja Jackson did, and it's terrifying. And then so here's my thing too. A lot of people are giving flack to the ref, to the kid trying to pull off Raja after like 6 or 7 of the punches or wherever he tried to sort of pull him off but didn't. It's easy to watch a video where you're reading the comments and you now know what happens and you weren't in that situation. But when you're in it, sometimes like, the reaction isn't, it doesn't hit you that quick. I'm trying to think of an instance where I was in a shoot where I was like, I don't know if I was ever in a shoot where I felt like I had to step in, right? Like, I feel like I'm trying to put my mind into that of that ref. And especially if, again, let's remember, no one is clued in onto what is happening. And if you're looking at that at first, you could maybe think that maybe these quick punches are just, it's worked. Some of those punches don't look like it's hitting him in the face at some point because the guy's got a long beard. I don't know. If you don't know what's supposed to be happening, you can't get a visual what it might look like. It becomes apparent halfway in that it is very real. I don't think you could fault the ref for not doing something in that moment. You can't fault the kid who, like, probably is unsure of what's happening when he tries to pull. Obviously, the big guy eventually saw, like, yo, this isn't fucking good. And I'm sure he had a different angle, too, and probably saw blood coming out of this guy's fucking face and shit. What I do think is pretty dumb, I don't know if you watched it to the end, they still pinned Stu for the finish, and the ref counted 3.
Wow.
That's pretty fucking dumb. That's pretty fucking dumb. I think the last thing we need to worry about that moment is making sure we have a fucking finish in a fake wrestling match. When you see this dude is, I mean, we didn't get a clear, close shot of what it looked like. But if you're in there and you see a guy's face mangled, probably his teeth missing, blood coming out of his fucking ears, I don't think you have to count 3 for the finish. I got to be honest with you. I think you could just not worry about ringing the bell or anything. I think we're done, right? So this kid goes in the back and they show his conversation with whoever the fuck on the phone. I think he's talking with Rampage at one point. And I mean, again, this is insane that this is all recorded. No one thought to stop because he's being told on the phone they can't get this fucking guy out of the ring. He's flatlined, like, and he's like, oh, my bad. You're bad? Wow. You're fucking bad when you go to fucking prison, dude. Because, like, I don't know what's going to happen. But, I mean, I think the New York Times or the LA Times or whatever I read, I think they got it right. This is going to be attempted murder. Because, listen, there are times in wrestling where works become shoots and things go too far. But what I think makes this worse in Roger Jackson's cases, it's not hearsay. Yeah. It's not, well, here's what he was thinking, or, you know, Rampage trying to cover up for it online. Like, well, he had a concussion. The motherfucker sat online and he hyped himself up aloud and said, I am going to do this. We watched what happened initially, which was not right with the can. We saw the apology. We saw him accept the apology. And then he still proceeded to beat the fuck out of him. And also, I mean, you cannot justify taking it that far. There's a big difference between getting hit in the head with a can and punching someone 23 times in the face to where you knock out all their teeth and they're choking to death.
How do you hit somebody 23 times? You know what I mean? Like, my hand would be sore after 3. Yeah. And I would be blown up by the 5th punch.
I don't know. Well, apparently, according to his, he's still a new MMA guy. So, I mean, like, he's got a 0-1 record. But I also, here's the thing, too. The guy's 24 or 25 years old. So you can't say he's a dumb kid. And we can't blame concussions for it. Can concussions cause issues of instability with your mental thinking? Sure. Could it cause anger or rage issues? Absolutely. It's documented that it can. But not only were people antagonizing him and encouraging him to do this, he blatantly said he was going to do it. And like you, there's just no justification for that. And the fact that there wasn't more discussion between whoever was running things in the back, the fact that they allowed that to happen. And also, this isn't getting talked about enough. I don't know if you saw this. There was a fucking clown guy that tried to stop him in the ring. He looked like a fucking clown.
Yeah.
This guy was outside. So as Raja's trying to walk away, he's almost trying to coerce him back, talking shit. And then someone filmed him cutting a promo about how on him and Rampage Jackson and how he needs to defend Knox Pro Wrestling and stuff. I'm like, this is why fucking wrestling sucks. Because you got a fucking moron like this, which I don't know why Gangrel would book this guy. He looks like a fucking joke. Like, this guy, a real guy, is laying in the ring, fucking dying, and this dude is cutting a promo about defending Knox Pro Wrestling. Dude, shut the fuck up. You're a moron. Like, you're inside of this fucking stupid ass fucking pro wrestling bubble, and you probably suck. I've never seen you wrestle, but you probably fucking suck. You look like you suck because you're doing like a fucking, what's your gimmick based on? Is it the Heath Ledger Joker? I've never seen that in wrestling before. It's just fucking, it's a joke, man. And it's shit like that makes pro wrestling look like a goddamn joke, to where Rampage Jackson has to go on a fucking stream and be like, oh, fucking oiled up fucking spandex fucking wrestler beating your ass or whatever. Like, it's just like, the shit doesn't get taken seriously because we have incidents like this where no one is taking care of things up top like they should have, and we got dumbasses like this running their mouth on the goddamn street in front of fans when shit like this goes down, like a very real serious situation. I don't know. It pisses me off to no end, and I mean, how do you think this all plays out? I mean, I gave my opinion. Give me your thoughts on the whole thing.
Man, I could see what you were saying, where there could be a charge, a very crucial charge. I could also see judges looking and going, "It's just pro wrestling. That was all staged."
I don't.
I mean, it's been a long time, but that's what they used to say with any of the other lawsuits where somebody would get into a fight, like New Jack.
Yeah.
With the thing with mass transit, the judge was like, "Yeah, it's pro wrestling."
Yeah. Has there ever been a situation where you had to get involved in breaking up a shoot incident, or you saw something where you thought it was supposed to be a work and it turned into a shoot, and then you have this moment of like, because like I know you've been in some actual real situations helping to save people's lives, right?
Right.
And I feel like you have a good sense of reaction and timing, and I feel like where I could see why this ref wouldn't have stepped in right away. There have been situations where, when we worked together at the Center with Adults for Disabilities, boy, was I glad you were there, because even though I was also trained in CPR, I'm just always scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you wouldn't have been around, I knew like I would have had to do it. But like the fact that like you're just fucking on it, you know what I mean? I'm so terrified that I'm not gonna be able to save the day.
Yeah.
And my reaction is I question myself, and I just feel like you don't do that. So is there a situation in wrestling that you can relate to this particular situation on some level?
There's been a couple times where things turned to shoots, but it didn't get major.
Yeah.
So not much had to be done.
You were never around for any of the JT stuff?
Yeah, for some JT stuff, but it all depends on which version of JT. I always got along with JT, so like I didn't see him like really beat the shit out of anybody too badly. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm trying to think, like nothing at AIW or anything like that. Like even like,
I mean, if
early
it was
days of
something, it
AIW?
was something I was involved with directly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I was in there with New Jack, so if he was gonna fuck somebody up, I don't know.
Well, then talk to me real quick about like a real life situation where you had to step in and help someone, where it's like, what is it that you see that you're like, okay, this is more than I think people understand that it is, and something needs to be done. Like, what makes the difference between like seeing like it's not that big of a deal to it is a big deal and you need to do something?
Go back to that one wrestling show I did, Mega Wrestling, where there was a guy, a fan, who I thought was mocking pro wrestling by taking a bump by the merch table, and really he had a seizure and fell and hit his head, and looked like it was bad news. Once I realized what was going on, because I kept saying, "Is this guy, making fun of wrestling?"
And so how long is that before you're like, oh no?
Seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just seconds.
Yeah.
It's like, because I thought for sure, he was just being stupid. Like, oh, is this how you guys fall?
Yeah.
And then, but it seemed very extreme for somebody to do that in like a bingo hall or whatever we were in, on that hard ass floor.
Right.
No padding or nothing. And you could hear the smack of his skull against the pavement.
What like, here's a great example though. Like, it's wrestling and it involves a seizure. The TJ Dynamite thing. Like, I know we've told it before, but like, talk about that. Like, so like you're in a situation where there's a real wrestling match going on, but then there's a real medical emergency happening while still going with the flow of the match.
Yeah.
And not taking away from what's going in the ring. You're also saving TJ Dynamite's life on the floor. So talk about that.
I don't know if I was saving his
Yeah,
life.
but like, dude, what would have happened if you weren't
I don't know. I just
moment?
know he was bouncing his head off the floor like he was a basketball.
But that's what I'm saying. Like imagine if you wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
How that situation turns out for
and
TJ.
I was smartened up to it like moments before we went out there, because Vince, and the Young Studs and Christian Faith were talking about this TJ Dynamite having had seizures before, and then I thought it was a work, and I thought he was selling at first, and then I realized
Someone described it as I thought he was doing the Devon cell.
yeah, like he was doing the stanky leg, and,
Yes.
and then I realized that somebody, I can't remember who it was. Maybe there was a ref. Maybe it was one of the Modics was a ref or something. But they said it's real or something to me. And when I saw him bouncing his head then off of the floor, it was like that's when I think I put my shoe under his head so he didn't keep hitting the floor.
I mean, but again, you probably.
And I held his head up because he kept bouncing it, so I took my tie off and began pretending I was choking him with it.
So what happens after the fact? What's the aftermath of everything?
Oh no, the aftermath wasn't in that match.
Okay, well, I'm not referring to the human. I'm referring to.
TJ Dynamite came to after a bit and got back in the ring. I don't know why.
I guess I didn't realize he finished that match.
Yeah.
I thought that was like at the tail end of the match.
I think that was the end. I think he got back in for the finish, and that was it.
Wrestling is something. Oh, so I mean, I guess to put a bow on this, what do you think happens to Raja Jackson? What do you predict is the end result of this? You think that perhaps maybe a judge might say, well, it's just pro wrestling, but with all the evidence, I'm positive they will present this evidence. Which, by the way, best wishes to Psycho Stu in the healing process. And apparently, I don't know if you saw this, Mr. Beast has already tweeted that he's trying to reach out to take care of all of his medical bills, which is very admirable for sure. So, yeah, what do you think happens when they present all this evidence?
Yeah.
Do you think Rampage Jackson bails him out? Because apparently someone had mentioned that he made a comment not too long ago where he said, I saved my money so that I could take care of something to the effect of his Japanese kids or something. He has like Japanese children, and to get Raja Jackson out of trouble. Because apparently he already knows or has known that Raja is nothing but trouble. And so, yeah.
Wow. I still say he gets out scot-free.
That's crazy. I can't imagine. I think this is...
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I
Yeah.
just have no faith in the system. I mean, okay, say he does get sentenced to jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
He gets pardoned the next day by the president, current president, because he's going to book him for the UFC fight on the front lawn of the White House.
Christ. Oh, boy. Well, I don't know what else to add to
dude.
this. I just a very... I don't want to say careless. There was like no care. There was no real communication. It's a very unfortunate situation. And I guess, to all the promoters out there and to all the wrestlers out there, look out for the fucking guys on your show and explain things properly. These shitbags that we have on shows that are just, this AJ Mata guy, whatever the fuck, strikes me as a guy who was trained by someone in your era of wrestling, Aaron, the fucking 90s. Give him a fucking receipt. Oh, a fucking Battle Royal. Let's give him some fucking chops and make his chest bleed. Like, why the fuck are we doing that? Like, again, a receipt is not beating someone to death. A receipt is, you hit me a little hard, I'm going to give it to you right back. I'm going to tag you back. And, interestingly enough, when Raja was pulled off of this guy, giving his receipt, I didn't see AJ run out there to do something about it.
Yeah.
I guess he
Didn't
didn't want him to deliver 12 or 14 more punches on top of the 23. I don't know what the fuck. Like, shitbags like that need to stop being around the business. And I understand, like, it wasn't like he was training Raja Jackson for something, but like, that's the problem. People not being taught correctly or making their own interpretation of what things mean in wrestling, and then passing that shit along and making pro wrestling worse than what it is already. Because it could be a shit show sometimes.
Well, you know how hard it is to walk and talk. You said so many guys in this business, they say walk and talk, and they suck, right? And they can't do it.
They don't know what that
Well,
means.
here you are. I don't know how long this Psycho Stu guy's been in the business, but this other guy ain't never been in the business.
Right.
didn't even like wrestling. So you can't walk and talk with that guy. Everything should be some type of rehearsed for, hours beforehand.
The guys who can't walk and talk, that don't understand what walk and talk is, which, by the way, we've talked about it before on the show. When guys say walk and talk, it means call in the ring. But you have to be able to call things in the ring in ways that it makes sense. And it definitely helps if you've worked with a guy before or if you watch the guy's stuff, so you know what to call for them. You know what they're capable of doing. Now, I had to tell people early on in my career, and I still have to do it occasionally, when they would call stuff to me. You can't just call stuff for me.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things I cannot do. So this walk and talk thing probably isn't going to work unless you know what I do. Guys who think most guys who suck think walking and talking is just calling random moves in random places, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense. To me, that's the equivalent of like someone who is a good musician if they had all the notes in front of them and stuff, but couldn't fucking remember an ounce of music or music notes to save their life, and they just go, "Well, we'll just improv out there," And so him, and the drummer, and fucking bassist go out there, and the guy in the guitar is the one who wanted to just do it out there, see if they would all be in sync, and he just goes, bang, 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 bang. He's just playing random shit on the guitar and just singing, and the drummer doesn't know what he's doing, and the fucking bassist doesn't know what he's doing, and it's just dog shit. Like, you have to have some semblance of planning. When I do this, you do this. We'll call the beginning, we'll call the ending. Like, I don't fucking know. This shit is stupid, and it pisses me the fuck off. It makes me want to fly even around this. Let me know your thoughts on this incident. What could have been done to prevent this? What do you think is going to happen to Raja Jackson? What do you think of Psycho Stu and what he initially did and how everything played out? Again, I don't fault him for anything because in my world, in my eyes, he did something fucking stupid. He apologized for it. He seemed sincere. And then he was sort of blindsided by this attempted murder at the end of the show. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on social media and on YouTube and whatever the case may be. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already. Subscribe wherever you download your podcast, iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow us on social media at Iron on Wrestling and patreon.com/Iron Wrestling. Best Way Sports Show. Free tier to sign up for. Free bonus episode this week. You also got the paid tier starting at $3, $9 will get you involved in the live chat that we're doing this Saturday. Keep you posted on a time for that. And yeah, you can find me on social media at Gregory Iron on Twitter, Gregory_Iron on Instagram, Facebook.com/TheHandicappedHero. All the other information, if you want to book me for cameos, buy my t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron. You can get the link over at handicappedhero.com. That's the direct place to message me for pro wrestling seminars, motivational speaking engagements, and buttload of content over on handicappedhero.com. That's all I got to plug. What do you want to plug, Aaron?
At Fair to Air on X and at Fair to Aaron on Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for 307. Can't wait to see you again for next week's episode 308. Or,
308, or as they like to call it, the return of Manscaped.
He's not coming back.
Say hello again to the shave guy.
Okay, no. Until next week, thanks for tuning in, and kiss goodbye. All right, guys. So the Raja Jackson situation continues before we put this up on Patreon and iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. Because I guess maybe late last night or early this morning, a podcast came out with the cowboy character in the video that was the one that told Raja to give him a receipt. And I say character because apparently this guy doesn't know how to be a real fucking human being. His name is AJ Mana, and he went on a podcast. That's right, a man who is being put into the same category as Raja Jackson and may get charges filed against him as well, based on the video where he's clearly telling him to tag Psycho Stu, to give him a receipt. He was dumb enough, actually fucking dumb enough, to go on a podcast last night called the F Y'all Podcast to try to explain his actions, because apparently, I don't know how old this guy is, but he can't take negative criticism from the internet, let alone criticism when he might be complicit with charges against him for something vile, maybe perhaps the most vile and heinous thing that's ever been done in independent wrestling. Legitimately. And I don't say that just for whatever, fucking headlines or whatever. It's disgusting that this occurred. And the more I see, the hotter I get about it. I want to read you some stuff that is... I watched the podcast, but I want to read you some stuff that was printed about the podcast, and I'm going to give you a little bit more of my take on it afterwards. But basically, he's quoted as saying in the video, referring to Psycho Stu, "One of my brothers is currently in the hospital." Yeah, I said it, my brother. Now, mind you, this is me talking right now. The whole time, this fucking moron is wearing a cowboy hat and is in complete gimmick while he's trying to absolve himself of any involvement and potential criminal charges, okay? And 1 minute he claims that everything was a storyline, and the next minute it's not. And I don't know. He's one of the biggest fucking morons I've ever seen in the history of the business. He goes on to say he's got the same fucking tattoo on his forearm because he's a cowboy from the fucking Double Six Ranch, just like myself. Y'all want to suggest that somehow I would set my own brother up. Y'all want to push the fucking narrative that me, not the gimmick, the fucking human being? Yes, that's a good question. So they made it into a work after the altercation. It is so cut and dry. It's so obvious. But y'all let these celebrities fucking get on here that you've been marking out for fucking years and just gaslight the fuck out of you. The proof is in the fucking pudding. Yes, he went too fucking far. We don't have to ascertain whether or not he went too far. Mana said he tried to stay quiet and handle things privately, but others in the group started blaming him because Raja Jackson was close to him. He argued that he can't be held responsible for another grown man's choices, comparing it to having a brother who commits a crime. Just because they're related doesn't mean he shares the blame. The next quote is, "I'm trying to absolve myself right now of these false allegations that I somehow," what was the term? "That I prompted or was in attempted murder, an accessory to attempted murder." Now that's a very fucking serious allegation. I was told to keep my mouth shut, so I tried to handle it in-house. Most of the entire fucking group is pointing fingers at me saying, "That's your boy, you're responsible for it." I am not responsible for what another grown-ass man decides to do. I'm not. If I have a brother who decides to break into someone else's house and shit in their kitchen, is that my responsibility? That would be theirs. Although there is a connection, their actions are not mine. Their actions I do not pay for. Again, I don't condone it, but I'm not liable. Now, before I continue with what's reported in these transcripts from Ringside News, are you responsible if your brother shits in the kitchen? No. But if you were to egg your brother on and tell him to do it, I think maybe there is some level of accountability that needs to be taken, though shitting in a kitchen is far different than telling someone to assault another person. Or let's just say, again, the term receipt is a term understood in the wrestling community, or at least you would think, because clearly not even this fucking AJ Mana understands what a goddamn receipt means. But even if he did know what it means, he didn't explain it to someone, Raja Jackson, and help him understand what it means. Therefore, somehow, some way, this kid, because nothing was communicated properly, and I say kid, he's not a fucking kid. I've said that on the podcast. He's a goddamn 25 or 26-year-old man. This guy, this adult, took it upon himself to say, "Oh, I can get my lick back," and then he proceeded to go into the ring and hit a guy 23 times in the fucking face until he was bleeding out of his goddamn ears. That's how serious it was. He was bleeding out of his ears. Okay? That's not getting a lick back. The quote continues, "This is my frustration. Was there a waiver? You saw everything in video. That camera never stops rolling. That camera was on me the entire time to protect me and to protect Raja, to prevent fucking speculation. The part in the fucking segment, that was a vignette unbeknownst to you motherfuckers that are saying I put a hit out on him. You didn't know that was a part of the fucking storyline, did you?" Okay, now, 1 minute in this interview that I watched, you're saying kayfabe's dead. The next minute, sounds like you're trying to keep kayfabe, you dumb fuck. Okay? Because, which also, there's no kayfabe to be kept. There was a camera on you. Like, what is the line? what is the benefit of doing this? Okay, so 1 minute, everything's for real when you're introducing him backstage to the promoter, to other wrestlers, and then Psycho Stu comes along, and all of a sudden you have to explain to him that it's all work, right? So that's a shoot, right? That is a shoot. Do you know what that is, AJ? It's a shoot when you do that, supposedly. But then after, on camera, on a stream, which there's no benefit to publicize this if you're trying to create a money-making angle before the angle happens. Like, for example, can you imagine if they filmed Triple H talking to The Rock about John Cena turning heel and then put it on the fucking internet? Not like someone else filming it, but WWE put it on the internet that John Cena is going to turn heel. Why would they do that? Why would they? It doesn't seem like it seems like it would take away from the money drawing aspect a little bit, right? People, I think, because it's WWE, would still tune in, but why would you film that and post it? Furthermore, in this particular, I don't know, angle that you think that you're going with, it's filmed nonstop with a part that you just said was a shoot, right? So as you walk away from Psycho Stu, who, you know, to remind everybody, was clearly drunk and hit Raja on the side of the head with a can, as you guys walk away and there's a handshake agreement that they're going to work an angle, apparently, he's going to do something in the match. As AJ is walking him through the back, he says, tag his shit, give him a receipt. You remember what a receipt is, right? How is that an angle? So 1 minute it's real and the next minute it's an angle? I don't understand. It sounds like you're trying to cover your stupid fake cowboy ass, right? That's what it sounds like to me. Blah, blah, blah. More continues. Let me see where my quote is here. God, I'm just so fucking heated. But there's nothing else I want to read from this. Look, here's what I want to add to this. If you go and seek out this interview before it gets taken down, which I would assume it gets taken down from the F Y'all podcast, because if the guy who ran this show was smart and had the best interest of this AJ in mind, he would take down the podcast. At one point, this actual moron, who clearly doesn't know anything about the business, tries to show someone what a receipt is. And he says, do you want to see what a receipt is? And then he hits himself hard in the face and then yells, that's a receipt! That's a fucking receipt! You are a moron. You are the stupidest person, maybe in a high-profile situation right now, that I've ever seen in independent wrestling. I'm sure there's people somehow stupider than you, but publicly this stupid is insane to me. Just out of curiosity, I went to try to find out like how old AJ Mana is, because I would guess that maybe he could either be close to my age, which is 38, or he might be closer to Raja's age, right? Like he might be around 20-some years old. Whatever the case, his maturity level is about fucking 10, and his IQ is probably about 2. I don't know. I think my nephew Quill has a higher intelligence level than this fucking moron. But just out of curiosity, I couldn't find anything on his age or his real name. But I went back on his Instagram to see how far back it goes. Because, you know, veteran of the business, is this what this guy sounds like? He sounds like he knows the business up and down. Well, his Instagram goes back to 2021, where he's doing MMA fighting, which I would assume that's where he found his friendship with Raja. And then there's a photo taken from August 16th, 2021, where he's marking out for Chavo Guerrero in a photo op, and he says in the photo, it was an honor making my live pro wrestling debut amongst some of the greats, including the legend at Chavo Guerrero Jr. Great meeting you, Oos, and thank you for paving the way and giving back. Much love. So this dumb fuck has been in the industry, having professional wrestling matches, and God knows how many, because I can't even find a cage match. Not that the cage match is a barometer for anything. I'm not trying to find the level of his wrestling skill. I'm trying to find how many documented wrestling matches this actual dipshit has on record. He doesn't even have a fucking cage match. Cage match has something on everyone. People that you wouldn't even think they have a cage match because they haven't been relevant since like the 90s if you're talking about indie wrestling. There's local guys that sucked in Cleveland that I can find a fucking cage match on with at least a couple matches from like the 90s. But this fuck has nothing on Cage Match. Not a goddamn one match, but apparently he's been working for 4 years. But also, what does that mean? How often has this idiot been working for 4 years? And it seems like he's already changed his gimmick at least once. He was AJ Mana, and he looked like he had a tribal gimmick of some sort. And now this was in April of 2023. But now he's made the transition to a cowboy gimmick because apparently that didn't get over. Not that he knows how to get over or how to conduct himself in media or on interviews. I'm going to make sure to tag this moron when I post this podcast because even though the podcast is over an hour long, I feel like if I tag him, he will go out of his way to listen to it because he's that dumb and he'll get upset about it and it'll probably set him off even more and he'll probably post more stuff about maybe his supposed knowledge of the wrestling business or whatever the fuck. Like, this guy's going to bury himself. And quite frankly, I hope he and Raja Jackson get fucking locked up for a long time. Because, again, much like the clown that I talked about on the podcast that's trying to fucking cut a promo talking about, I bleed red and black. I bleed Knox Pro Wrestling. Like, hey, go back to the fucking corner, you crackhead, with your fucking clown face paint. Shut the fuck up. AJ Mana, you're a fucking disgrace to wrestling, and you clearly don't know anything about it. I'm glad you had to supposedly pay $30 of your own money to get Raja Jackson in the building for the show. Tells you what a mark you are. 4 years in, and you're still fucking buying tickets for your friends to get in the building. Can't get a freebie there. Even a popular streamer, supposedly. Fuck you. You're a moron, and I wish you the absolute worst.